Hello there, I'm Maddy Osman of the Blogsmith and SEO Content Writing Agency for B2B technology brands, and I'm going to give you my 5 tips for freelancers and other business professionals to take things to the next level. First tip would be to definitely use a calendar scheduler to protect your time. I actually use my calendar scheduler to also vet prospects in terms of if we are in the same ballpark budget-wise or not. So I use Calendly. You can use, honestly, there are so many different options out there, including several that can integrate with WordPress as a plugin. In fact, Calendly can be embedded on your website. But on my Calendly form, when I'm asking people to book time with me, I ask them to acknowledge my pricing, and they have to actually click a yes checkbox to say that they have seen it, they're aware of it, and they agree with it before they ever get on the phone with me. Second tip would be to definitely use a project management tool, whether that's honestly a piece of paper that you keep track of everything that you're working on now and everything that's in the queue, or it could be a spreadsheet. I actually used a pretty gnarly spreadsheet before I found a project management tool that I was excited about that not only let me list kind of the nature of the project, the client I was working with, a space for links to working documents. I even did some math on it in terms of, how much time it would take, how much I'm making, and how many dollars, per hour I'm making on that assignment. So create a tool that helps you track more than just the project, but all the important details around it, and make sure that you're using it consistently, because if you're not putting everything in that tool and you're not setting due dates and even priorities and adding any sort of relevant information that you need to complete that task, then it's just going to fall through the cracks, and that's not going to be a good deal. Third tip, a more WordPress specific tip, is to make sure that you have some sort of backup solution in place. You definitely do not want to be in a situation where you put all this work into your website, and since WordPress is certainly a target for hackers, somebody gaining access through a plugin or your theme, or maybe you just didn't update to the latest version of WordPress, to see all your work just go away because some hacker took over your website would really be a shame. So make sure that whether it's a plugin or your web host, many web hosts do offer some type of backup protection, but ideally you have more than one backup solution in place, because again, you just never know with hackers, there's always things that could happen. And so the more different ways that you're automatically scheduling backups and putting them in different places, the better off you are just in a worst case scenario. Tip number 4, have an SEO strategy. Easier said than done, but one of the tools that I use that I really love is Ahrefs. It helps me do everything that I need to do with SEO on my site and for client sites. It lets you do keyword research. It's actually my absolute favorite tool for doing keyword research of all the tools that are out there. You can track the effectiveness of your ability to rank for the keywords that you are going after. You can also audit your website for any sort of technical issues. You can do competitor research. You can see where you lie on the scale of the top websites out there, and you can also track backlinks that help to measure how effectively you can rank in relevant search. It definitely has a learning curve if you're new to the world of SEO, but once you know the basics, it's really the best tool out there. So then tip 5 is don't think that you have to go it alone. You can definitely do more with more help around you, whether that means hiring help, hiring a contractor, hiring an employee, or even hiring a gig worker on a website like Fiverr or Upwork, somebody who can help with just one thing that is beyond your current skill level, or maybe that you just don't have time for. And the things that have really helped me when I'm looking for more of a long-term person to help me is, first of all, just making sure that you're laying out all the working conditions in whatever job description that you're sharing on various sites. I personally have found a lot of success with Craigslist, posting my job descriptions there and just trying to be as detailed as possible in terms of what my expectations are, trying to show people examples of like what really good work looks like in terms of the skills that I'm hiring them for. I also make sure to put the pay rate on the job description because I don't want to waste somebody's time if I'm not in their ballpark, and likewise, I don't want to get super far with somebody and be almost ready to hire them only to realize that they're out of my budget. And then the last thing that's important to keep in mind in general from a hiring perspective is you really want to test out if they're going to be a fit before you go through everything that's involved with onboarding, all the forms you got to fill out, all the training you've got to do, and things like that. And so one thing I do is offer a paid test, and it's doing an assignment that looks a lot like what I would expect them to do on a regular basis, but making sure they're compensated for that time, because I know personally I have been really annoyed with companies in the past who hire writers and want them to produce like a 500-word piece for free. And it's, not even something that looks like a test, but it looks like something that they're going to then use. And they've gotten, free time, free labor out of it, and they might never hire me. So I've always really resented that in the past. And I think that it's important to always compensate people for their time is really all it comes down to, just mutual respect. So again, I'm Maddy Osman of the Blogsmith, and these are my 5 tips for running a better business. You can find me on the-blogsmith.com, and I'm always happy to chat on Twitter. I'm at Maddy Osman, OSMAN.